Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with AstrologyMojo. I want to help you get your mojo back. So today we're talking about Saturn in the constellation of Pisces. In a minute, I'll show you the chart that I have. But I just, for people who are new to me, I just want to let you know that when I talk about astrology, it's not from the perspective that the planets are doing anything to you. Rather, it is from the perspective that a chart and the planetary configurations, the angles and the aspects, represent a collective global move of energy and also your individual choices. So when I look at a chart, in fact, let's look at one right now. When I look at a chart, I see stuff happening. Now, until I actually apply it to a person and a soul or a group or a situation, I see what's happening collectively and also individually. And so that's the more updated, empowering definition of astrology, so that you are not a puppet. You are learning as you go, and then I see what's happening. So when I'm looking at this, we can just get right into it. Here we are. Okay, so Saturn is now 0 degrees, 32 minutes of Pisces in the constellation of Pisces, and it's very bright in the night sky, also pre-dawn. So if you look out on one end of the sky, you will see what looks like a oblong thing. That's Saturn. And on the opposite side of the spectrum on the sky, you'll see Jupiter, two very bright luminaries in the sky for a while. And we're just going to talk about Saturn today, though. And what I have here, okay, so we're the sun is in the sign of Scorpio, and we're looking at the outer wheel here. Pluto is in Capricorn. The reason why I have this here is because Saturn is the planet that guides the sign of Capricorn. And pretty soon Pluto will be entering the sign of the constellation Aquarius. We'll talk about that in an upcoming show. But right now, with Saturn in Pisces, Neptune rules Pisces and is also in Pisces. So we have two heavy hitters, the outer planets, Saturn and Neptune, both in Pisces. And this will be happening for the next 2.5 years with Saturn in. So if you are a Pisces sun, rising, or moon, you might be more aware of your maturity level and or growing. But briefly, what I want to just cover is the definitions, and then what a couple of keywords for each of the signs and sun and rising signs. But Saturn is a planet that represents religion, spirituality, discipline, piety, also responsibility. And the Saturn native, the person who might have a sun in Capricorn, a rising or a moon in Capricorn, would feel extra responsible, and to alleviate that pressure would deny gratification to the point of physical illness, or to the point of then going to an extreme, waiting till the 11th hour, the nth hour. But that is the basic makeup of Saturn is the authoritarian, the judge, the priest, the doctor, regardless of gender. Did I say judge? The person that you think is the boss of you could be your boss. Maybe you're the boss, but you have an employee who, is so strong that you just acquiesce and just keep the peace. So a Saturn energy is about responsibility. Now, if you are a kind person, you're compassionate, you're thoughtful, you're conscientious, you pay your bills, all right, you're already responsible. What I'm talking about is the ability to respond to yourself. So Saturn is asking, doesn't really ask you anything, but Saturn is, held up in front of you as, ooh, what am I responsible for? And when I take their responsibilities on my shoulders, why do I do that? So you want to look at the physical form as well, because Saturn represents the structure, your skeletal structure, the bones, the teeth, the nails, the skin. And I'm going to refer to my notes, the knees especially. So a lot of times when a person is undergoing a physical issue, it's not because the planet is doing it to them, but it's because the timing, and it's timely for someone to then say, oh, the way I sit, and I slump and I crane and I get up and I have a neck ache and my shoulders hurt. Okay, that would be considered a Saturn experience or an issue. So what I want you to think about is, where do you feel like you work, give, but then you don't allow yourself to get back? Or it's the 11th hour and the report is due in 10 minutes and you just started researching. What is that adrenaline rush about? You want to make yourself feel alive because you're always following the rules. That's a Saturn guided energy. So if you're someone, doesn't matter what sign you are right now, if you're someone who is following the rules and you're tired of it and you just want to break free, that could also be looked at as a Uranus energy. But Saturn is where the discipline is. Are you disciplined? Are you becoming more in tune with your spirituality, your intuition? Because Saturn in the sign of Pisces is about mysticism and illusion and spirituality and the dream coming true and the fairy glamour over something. You're in a burning building, but you're admiring the architecture. It's a Pisces thing. Film, fashion, photography, the illusion of something. And also water. So it can be feeling like you're dreaming, but your eyes are wide open. And then you're looking to set the boundary, because Neptune energy is boundaryless. So here's the fascinating thing, and why I wanted to talk about this today, is that Saturn guides Capricorn. Now, the glyph or the symbol for Capricorn is a goat, a mountain goat with a tail, a dolphin's tail, deep in the mysticism of the water. So the Capricorn energy or the Saturn energy is climbing, slow and steady climb to the top, but always with an anchor in the personal dream, the spiritual component that propels you, that divinity in you, and finding, is it in me or do I think it's outside of me? And is that the boss of me? Well, you're the boss of you. Your energy is the boss of you. Whatever you're thinking and creating is the boss of you. And Saturn in Pisces represents this whole new evolution of, can we be compassionate in our business models? Can we use compassion with authority figures? Can they be the compassionate ones to teach us as well? Teachers, attorneys, whoever your authority figures are. You're driving and suddenly you see a cop car in the distance and you're checking your speed and you're suddenly feeling like, was I speeding? Is that coming after me? So it's like this part of you that feels like you're in service, but always at the sake of yourself. So I'm going to go through definitions for each of the signs briefly, just some key words so that you have an understanding for your sun, rising, and moon sign. Okay, so and also with Neptune and with Saturn, the zealot is born. That means someone who is like, you go by the rules. This is what the book says. This is how we've practiced it for centuries. This is what we're doing. No questions asked. So, which can lead to an extreme. So a Saturn in Pisces extreme can look like an extremist, someone who has had it, but has never expressed anything, has never gone to counseling, has never eaten the foods most nurturing for the body, and then suddenly goes postal. And so, or the opposite. It is someone who says, I have been following these rules for a few years, months, weeks, whatever. And suddenly I realize that it's not working for me. So with respect and kindly, I'm going to refuse. I'm going to say no. That's a boundary. I'm going to say thank you. I've learned my lesson. I'm moving on. That's a boundary. So now let's look at the sun, rising, and moon signs just very briefly. So Aries, we're going to start with Aries. Saturn in Pisces. Now this is general. So if your degree, if this were your chart, and you have a different degree at 29-degree Aries, your Saturn may be in a different house, but this is just for general. So Aries, sun, rising, and moon. Saturn in Pisces occurs in your 12th house, and that's all about the psyche. And so it's pretty big on healing your unconscious definitions of authority with divinity. That means the God figure, the Godhead. That means religion in your life, in your past, and especially a masculine authority figure. So if you're someone who was raised in a particular religion and you're not that way anymore, and you're thinking, oh, I'm totally cool with it, but you get triggered and it's unconscious, and then you act out. So you want to think about that. You want to think about what triggers me. And I would highly recommend more meditation right now, perhaps some counseling, so that in the next 2.5 years, so that you can really understand that it's time to heal this part of you that was limited or was raised by someone who was addicted. Now, the zealots are addicted to religious power and control, and Neptune energy, Pisces, is can also be an addictive, has to hide from the realities, the harsher realities, which Saturn can represent as well. Like, you got to work hard, you got to keep going, you got to kneel on your knees until they bleed so that you can understand what it's like to suffer. Flagellation, it's like you have a desire. Nope. Got to beat it down. Oh, I'm hungry, but no, you're not. You're going to diet. You're going to be a chronic dieter. Oh, I'm going to pray, but to which God and what? There's only one, so like the extreme energies, Aries, sun, rising, and moon are in you. I mean, they're in everyone, but this is where Saturn and Pisces is going to show you that with compassion, you can create your own reality, your own divinity, your own authority figure, you being the authority. Okay, Taurus, Saturn in Pisces, it falls in your 11th house-ish, depending on, again, your degree. But it deals with groups and friends, but also being seen as the mentor or disassociating yourself from groups or mentors or elders who no longer resonate your vibe. So maybe you're part of an artistic community and it's a commune. That would be very Neptune. And then there's a leader and says, you only eat this much rice a day. And you're thinking, I don't want to eat rice at all. So again, it's where's the conflict coming in, Taurus, sun, rising, and moon, that's on one end of it, the one end of the spectrum, because, every single person is going to experience something different. But are you the elder now? Are you being handed the baton to show your wisdom? And if so, don't shrug it off. And be very aware of who you're speaking to, what you're attracting, whom you're attracting, because, you're under the spotlight now, Taurus, sun, rising, and moon. And so as you amass a new audience, could be in business, could be a friend, could be in your family members, you might come across some very extremist personalities. Now, you might say, oh, yeah, I have an in-law who's like totally into religion and I'm not. Or I want to get divorced, but my spouse is, an extreme Catholic and doesn't believe in it. So now we have to go to counseling. And you're feeling like, this is not me. This is, how am I going to expect this person to counsel me when they're not in a relationship or they're not a psychologist? So like all these things are going to start to come up. And especially if you're any part Taurus, Aries combo, this will be even more evident. But what I see for the general for Taurus, sun, rising, and moon is that you're letting go of an older identity and you're ready to take on the role of authority. You know something and you're great at it, whatever it is. I mean, I used to read when I was a kid, hints from Heloise in the newspaper. on how to clean stuff. I don't know why I found that. So maybe it's because I'm a Capricorn rising and I'm always trying to keep things neat and clean, except I have a huge pile of stuff on my desk. So somewhere there's an extreme. I have like this pile because of my brain. It's like, everything has to be like, and then I don't relax. Right. So Taurus, I'm also a Taurus, sun, rising, and moon. There's a whole new wave of friends coming in, or groups of people that you can be working with and seen as the wise one, the mentor, or perhaps you're ushered into somewhere to teach from your expertise because you do know something. Okay, Gemini, moving on to the 10th house, Gemini. Saturn in Pisces represents your career and also your long range view of how you want it to go. It's never always going to go that way unless you're conscious of every single moment that you are creating, because you're the one making the matter. So in career, if you're not happy with what you're doing, it's time to sit down and really brainstorm with yourself. Saturn in Pisces represents, again, that authority figure, but where's the waste? You might say, oh, it's fine, I'm the boss, but it's like, I don't have time to look at everyone's agenda. I trust that I hired people to do their job, but maybe there's waste. So there's some overspending. There's budget issues. So you want to be really aware of that moving forward. And also, maybe you're ready to change careers. Maybe you're ready to be a teacher, professor, counselor. I'm sorry, oh my gosh, what do you call someone who's hired to go in and just give their expertise and then leave? I just lost the word. Starts with a C. You know what I'm talking about. A consultant. Thank you. Woo. Had to pull that one. So you could be the mentor. You could also be the one who is being, maybe you're up for a review and you have to sit and think, they keep telling me that I'm great, but they're not promoting me. What the heck is happening here? Or you're the one who has to evaluate employees, or think about, maybe you're retired, maybe you want to retire and that's the next step. So you're thinking about, what's the long range plan here and how can I make it work while I'm doing something I love? So that's very important, because Saturn is about the elder, the mentor, the authority, yes, but also the part of you that, is looking at green pastures and going, I don't want to work this hard anymore. I want to have my little safety nut, and I want to, sell the business and buy a Winnebago. So you think about what you want and how you want your career to start looking, because it's shaping up. And in the next 7 years, you're going to see where it's headed based on what you're deciding now. It's Cancer, sun, rising, and moon. Saturn in Pisces is in the 9th house for you. And this is all about contracts and marketing, also higher education, whether you're deciding to take a different type of training course that gives you the street creds to say, yes, I am the authority in that field because I have my certificate or my PhD, or I'm the one who's going to teach you how to be the authority in your field. So that can lend itself to marketing and also to media attention and contracts. So not only will you be seen as the expert, but you could teach others how to be in that world, how to excel without having to work harder. Now it's, you've heard the phrase work harder, work smarter, not harder, but it's more about working with a very specific ideal vision. Cancer, sun, rising, and moon. So you might be looking at the long stretch of, I'm coming up on retirement. I want to check all my contracts, look at all my vendors, work with all my clients, and start to plant seeds of, so I'm just thinking of selling my business, or I'm thinking of getting that degree. So then I will train someone to be my next person so that I don't have to do all the work, so you're the one who's going to be doing all this and thinking about this. And it's going to be a recalibration over the next 2.5 years. So it's not just tomorrow, right? Because here's Saturn and in Pisces, but we also have a Pluto in Capricorn about to move into Aquarius. So the contracts are changing for you, and the Cancer Sun, Rising, and Moon, the nature of the relationship, especially if you work with a spouse or a family member, or you're working very closely with a high-end client, you're thinking, I don't want to attract the same kind of people anymore. Or, so you have to change your behavior and your standards. That is a long-range vision for you. As you are seen as the expert. So Cancer, Sun, Rising, and Moon, it's going to be a very interesting 2.5 years because you're going to come into your own and people are going to look at you and start relying on you for the answer. Or answers. Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. We're moving into the 8th house with Saturn in Pisces. I have to say, this is one of the houses that I would least want to have Saturn in Pisces, only because you're faced with your spending habits and the idea of debt. Now there's debt in across the board. There's emotional debt. Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. Where do you feel there's a deficit for you? In the next 2.5 years, you might already know what it is. And you're thinking, well, I just have to work a little harder, get my investments set. I have to shore up my debt and, get a collection thing together. And I don't know. And then you go off and you do something fun. So Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon, it's really important to look at what type of debt you think you have. And that can be creative debt. It could be debt with sexual debt with a partner, a spouse. They could be the ones in debt. You're the one who's always encouraging and supporting and helping, but they're the ones who are spending on ill-advised investments, or they just go to extremes. And you're thinking, why did you, that was our nest egg. What are you doing? So Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon, I want you to get comfortable with money and having, and stop talking about the past. Oh, I was raised in a place, we lived in one room and I couldn't afford. Okay, stop. We know. We're done. Let's put a period on that sentence and find your type of debt. Where are you lacking? Is it sexual? Is it creative? Is it financial? Is it with friends? Is it emotional? Is it the type of people that you rely on and then you call them up and they're not there for you? Or is it the opposite? Are you always relying on others and yet you're not there for them? So you want to see, where is the deficit in your life? Because as Saturn moves through this sign, just be aware, you'll know, because you'll get all the phone calls for donations. And if a debt collector calls, you don't have to take that call. You can talk to your credit card company. You can find a way to make it work. You can, if you're paying off a mortgage, you might want to buy down the principal instead of the interest and start becoming a little more savvy about what you're doing with your energy. Are you expending so much energy, Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon, that you're spent emotionally? And then you don't have time to look at insurance papers or whatever. So just be on top of that in the next 2.5 years, because as people come with their hands out and they want you to fill the need, you're going to have to say no. Ooh, boundary, Saturn. Think about that, Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. All right, we're moving on to Virgo. And okay, Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Moon with Saturn in Pisces. This is a really interesting position, because if you're single and the type of partner, the 7th house deals with spouse or a high-end client, a business partner, also fan clubs, also known or unknown competitors, or, in the old terminology in astrology, it was enemies, open enemies, people who opposed you. If you're running for office or if you're a political person, they're going to come out now and they're going to show their anti-support of you, but you cannot be deterred, right? So Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Moon, you are now either going to be, whether you're already in a marriage or a business partnership or with a high-end client and you are the mentor, now is an interesting time, because now the student will become an equal, and you may not like that. You may not like hearing advice from a student, but if it's constructive and if it's done with compassion, you actually might learn something so profound. Now, for some of you, it could mean, again, this is general, it could mean that you're a single and you're about to attract someone or just have in the next 2.5 years, but they're older. It's like, what do they used to call them? A May, December relationship. So it could be someone that is wiser, older, or you're that someone to them. And you're wondering why this person's 20 years younger than me. How is this going to work? So you want to go with feeling, and instead of stopping yourself in your brain as to how long can I, what are people going to say, or what is this going to look like if I walk in with this young man on my arms and I'm 15 years his senior. So you're going to need to get over yourself, Virgo, sun, rising, and moon, if you're in that situation. But you also want to be aware of what type of person are you attracting, for a client or a romantic endeavor, perhaps, or if you're already in a solid relationship, who is the parent here? And what are you overlooking? Oh, he works hard. It's okay. He's a weekend warrior. He only drinks on the weekends. That would be the Neptune thing. Now, or come up to speed. And it's like, I've just discovered that I have a bigger spiritual part of me and I want to connect with that. And my partner doesn't. So you can't be the one shoving the books in your partner's face going, here, read this so we could be on the same page. So you're going to have to do a little bit of harmonizing. Seventh house energy is about harmony between partners. But also with Saturn there, you're going to want to calculate, consider, discuss, and converse around your current needs. Whether it's a romantic relationship, I was going to say religious relationship. Well, it could be. Maybe you fall in love with the pastor, and and you're like, oh, what are people going to say? Well, if it's allowed in your specific or their specific religion to marry, then who cares? Who cares anyway? It's like you need to not criticize what's happening, but also this is okay. Saturn is in Pisces, which is opposite to Virgo. So the idea of some new idea coming in kind of throws you a little bit. And so you might be thinking, I am not sure how to take this. Or, it's like, you're so much older than me. You're wiser than me. I don't know how I could ever fill these shoes. Or as I said earlier, it's like, you're so much younger than me. I don't know if I have the energy to marry someone 20 years my junior or senior, right? So you're contemplating these things, but what is the feeling? Pisces has that feeling of magic and mysticism. So if you're working with someone who is a mentor, who is a spiritual leader, or who has a goal to help the masses, this is where your expertise can come in so handy, and you can also be seen as a mentor. Okay, Virgo, sun, rising, and moon. That was a lot. Okay, Libra, sun, rising, and moon. Saturn in Pisces takes place in your 6th house, and the 6th house is about health in general. Medicine, yes, but the health of a pet, or enacting laws to change the health status of a community. Let's put up a stop sign. There's been some, mishaps over there. So the concern is the community, and the community wants your attention. So if you're an attorney, you might be asked to start doing some pro bono work. If you work in the health industry, you might be seeing how things are run in a specific office, and you're thinking, I need to pull up my big person boots and say, no, that's not okay, and find the correct venue, find the correct channel with which to express how things can be done to better suit the needs of the community in the health industry, or in a legal industry, or in working together to make sure, if you know that a product is harming others, you need to gather the evidence and the proof, and you need to present that to the appropriate people, is what I'm saying. So you might be rewriting policies, Libra, sun, rising, and moon. You might be disgruntled about something. You bought a product and you're hurting now. Your body hurts, or you ingested something and it's just making you dizzy. And the doctor says, no, it's really what you need. And you're like, but I don't feel good. So you need to check different channels and, many opinions, allopathic, integrative, homeopathic, naturopathic. You just need to do your research. All right, Libra, sun, rising, and moon, and really make sure you have nutrients for the body, especially the bones, the teeth, the nails, the skin, the ankles, the legs, the feet, the water systems of the body. If you're having allergies to something, pay attention. You might be allergic to a coworker and thinking, how did they get that job when they do nothing? Again, you had to find their appropriate channels and not complain or grumble or judge, but find a way to smooth out the wrinkles, be seen as the authority, someone who saves the day and does it with compassion. All right, Libra, sun, rising, and moon, you have your cloth is cut for you. Okay, moving on. Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. Saturn in Pisces falls in your 5th house. It's very sobering. This is the house of fun and play and kids and magic and sexuality and romance and partners. Well, with Saturn there, if you're about to enter into a relationship and you are ignoring because you don't want to see the ugly truth that this person overdoes it with their medicine or their drinking or their fanaticism or their negative judgments, you need to be sober about it. And also look in the mirror, because if you are the one attracting this type of person, something in you says it's okay. Something in you says, yeah, I dealt with that. My dad was an alcoholic and it's fine. He or she or they, it's okay. I can put a stop to it. So if you're looking at controlling what's going on creatively, first of all, you need to sober up to the fact that you cannot control anything outside of yourself. Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. And what you can do is just check your behavior and be more playful. Be more playful. As adult play is sexuality. So allow yourself to not deny gratification, but not go to extremes. We don't want to deny ourselves, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon, but we don't want to go to extremes either. So you have to check that behavior, and maybe you just stopped drinking. Maybe you were sick and maybe you're in the health industry or the holistic industry with Pisces there. You could be a reader of some sort or an energy worker, and you take on so much stuff from so many people that you're starting to hurt and you're tired and your head hurts and people are leaving and you're wondering, what's happening to me? I just feel so sick all the time. So that's the sobering energy. It's just, what are the energies around you? What is happening in your world, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon? And or what do you tolerate? So if you can't tolerate something anymore, then whether you're ingesting it, you are a grandparent and you're watching how the grandkids are being disciplined, because Saturn is also about discipline, you might want to be having a conversation with compassion to the son-in-law, daughter-in-law, however it works, and say, you look a bit frustrated and I see you taking it out on the baby. So let's talk about that. And you might get kicked out of the house, but you said your piece, right? You can't control things outside of your world. You can do your best by controlling what's happening on the inside, being as present in as many moments as possible, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. But after that, it is what it is. Now, when let's say you just had a client once years ago who changed her name. She was estranged from her kids. She was an alcoholic, and 20 years had gone by, and she straightened out, and she was very nervous. She wanted to reconnect. And this is that same kind of feeling where you might have been someone who went through a huge change and now you're wanting to reconnect with your children, your grandchildren, your family, a romantic partner, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. And you might be saying, not for the purpose of the end game, like, oh yeah, we're going to get back together, or yeah, they're going to invite me for Thanksgiving. It's you want to own it. I know I could be a force to reckon with. And I just want to say that I'm aware of that now. And whatever happens, I really do love you. So you're coming in with the authority. You're the boss of you. You're owning it, but you're also showing compassion, regardless of the outcome. Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. This is also a great time, not just to reconnect with kids, but previous creative projects. You might say, I'm going to dust off that thing and I'm going to start playing the piano. I'm going to finish that book. I'm going to do that painting, take that class. I put it off and now I'm back. And I really want to do this thing without extremes. All right. Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. Sagittarius. Hey, Ashley and Teresa are here. Hello. Hope other people who are watching, you please give me a thumbs up, a like, a love, share, subscribe, like, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook. It really does help. Thank you. Sagittarius, sun, rising, and moon. Saturn in Pisces falls in your 4th house, and we could be looking at elder care, or perhaps an elder or a mentor in your life has recently transitioned and now they are off planet. And so you are grieving that loss, or you're feeling like you need to do something and grow or mature. You might be emulating your maternal or paternal parent and thinking that doesn't work for me anymore. Whether or not you got along with them, whether or not they are on or off planet. So Sagittarius, sun, rising, and moon, look in your world, in home, first of all, 4 walls. Yes. Do you need to remodel something? Is it about the pipes, the actual structure? Do you have to tear down something? It could be about fixing a property before you turn around and flip it or sell it. It could be you thinking, oh gosh, I could use expert help right now because I mucked up the pipes in the bathroom and everything's backwards. I went to somebody's house once and they did that. And the hot was the cold and the cold was the hot. And then the faucet was coming outside. So Sag, sun, rising, and moon, think about what's the flow of emotion going through your body. Your body is the structure and the flow is your water level. We are water. What are we talking to ourselves about? What's the information? What vibe are we giving ourselves, Sag, sun, rising, and moon? Because every time you talk, you vibrate every liquid in your body, all water and blood, and you tell it something. So what are you telling it? So the body is your structure, the Saturn, the Pisces is the water and the liquid moving through you, and the magic and the mystic. And so you want to meditate more, be more in tune with what you're feeling. And then comes the 4 walls, because then it's about the pipes or a fountain or the shower head, or there's a flood in the backyard, and about the structure of the building. So you're the building first with what's going on in here and how it's vibrating. What are you doing? Are you overseeing a rehab on the house? Are you building something and you really need it to be of value because you want to turn around and sell it? Or you're including family members, and you suddenly, you get a phone call and grandpa fell and broke their hip and now they got to come live with you. And you're like, we have to put a bathroom in. We only have one on that side. There's no way it's going to work. So there's a lot of different scenarios that can happen, Sag, sun, rising, and moon. But we want to look at, are you emulating a negative aspect or an addictive or a I'm going to hide aspect of a parent, whether they're here or not? Do you need to care for an elder? Do you have the physical structure up to par, up to code? And are you ingesting as much, healthy water? Yes, healthy food, nutrients, but are you actually absorbing? Because you might have, if you're taking a medication, it could stop the absorption of certain things like a vitamin D or, whatever, vitamin C. So you want to just check what's going on with your body and then ultimately start valuing yourself even more. Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces. Now, this is your muse in astrology. Happens in the third house. So, a couple of very big things are going to happen in the next 2.5 years if they haven't started already, and that is because Saturn is already in Pisces, and that is, are you aware of your wisdom? Are you aware of the dreams that you have, physical, the night dreams that you have? Are you ready to put them into practice? Are you organizing yourself so that you can teach something, so that you can learn something about an aspect of structure? And that structure could be business. It could be, I need a space in my office where it's just for meetings, or it's just to do videos or Zoom, or I need to organize something about my world and take responsibility for who I am and how I express. Now, this could lend itself, excuse me, to siblings or people who are like siblings, and you may just be drawing the boundary line and saying, no, you say you stopped drinking, but you're not doing what you're saying. And so, no. And I wish you well. Or you say you meditate every day, or you say you're spiritual or you're religious, but yet you're coming out sideways with passive aggressive anger. So no. So either let's talk about it, or let me give you the number of someone who could help you, or no, not allowed anymore. And because third house is not just about how we perceive and then create beliefs, then it's about, we open our mouths and we communicate something, but it's also about the nature of the relationship that we have to siblings and or to the people we rely on as like, oh, BFF, or, yeah, I love him. He's so great. He's like a brother. He's like a brother to me. But what's their behavior right now? Because that ties into how you're expressing and what you're expressing. Capricorn, sun, rising, and moon. So the third house is, are you ready to land in your knowledge and your wisdom and teach it? Are you ready to learn something, a strategy, perhaps in business, to help you get that message out there? Are you writing? Are you speaking? Are you editing? And all starts in here. And then it's the production of something. I am a Capricorn rising, and I have a training program in astrology. I write historical fiction fantasy. I'm editing that book while I'm writing this one, while I'm writing forecasts for the Sedona Monthly magazine. So there's a lot of communication that comes out of me, and I want to be as succinct as possible. And sometimes I need an editor. I have to ask for help. So Capricorn, what are you expressing, and what kind of contracts go along with this? What are your needs? So you really want to chat with, I know a Capricorn sun sign who is traveling with a sibling to work out property issues in another country. So they're going to have to call in some legal advice. They're going to have to collaborate and, really go over what's happening. So think about what you're thinking about and how it might debilitate you or how it might empower you. Capricorn, sun, rising, and moon. And then take a breath and a beat before you actually open your mouth, and be very specific with compassion about what it is for you, how it looks in the communal world, and what you would like to share. Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon. All right. So Saturn in Pisces is falling in your second house again, according to, depending on degree. This is a general reading, but this is about learning about money. There can't be extremes anymore. It's about, what are you putting your money into? Is it art? Is it business strategies? Do you have a mentor? Are you budgeting? Are you learning about money? Are you learning about banking or systems that can help you? Is it an IRA? Our kid's an Aquarius rising sign, and we are going to be visiting them very soon. And my husband and I are going to talk to our kid about how to contribute to their IRA, or what to look for when they are banking somewhere, which we've done before. But, it comes up every once in a while. It's like, are you being charged interest rates in your checking account if you don't keep a minimum amount? Where could you go? Is it a credit union instead of a traditional bank? So what are you doing with your money? Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon. What do you value about yourself that is the precursor to how you earn? And what are you earning? And are you realizing your worth? I'm talking about self-worth first before it's financial worth, because one follows the other. Now, we were talking about making money, yes, budgeting money, yes, but underneath it all, it's about what you value. Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon. If you value that historical book that cost $200 on Abe's, there's a book site you can go to called Abe's something. Anyway, you can get historical stuff and you pay a price, a premium. But if it's worth it to you, if it's something that you really want to invest in because you value it, Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon, then you'll find a way to pay for it. You'll find a way to invest in it. So it's not just about money in the second house. It is the investment of time, energy, know-how, expertise, your resources. What's in your resource box? Because you're going to want to make a list of all your talents right now and really start to value them, because you might say to an employer, oh, you need that done? I studied that. I know how to do that. And then you talk compensation. So you get their interest, you pique their interest, and it's not just part of your job, because that's extra. So this is about valuing yourself. It's not like, that's okay, I'll just do it because it's fun. Yeah, okay. But you also want to be compensated, because then you're setting a standard and the boundary line has moved, and you want people to really value your worth just as much as you value yours. You get the picture? Okay. Pisces, it's all about you now. Saturn in Pisces, the next 2.5 years. This is your maturation process. Take a nice deep breath. Have a lie down at least twice a day. Meditate. You want to really hydrate and be aware of your older patterns. Every 27 to 29 years, you have Saturn in Pisces. Now, if you're only 29 years old, this is the first go around. But if you're feeling old, this is in the first house. So it's about body parts. It's about personality. It's about childhood trauma. You need to let go of the addictions. Pisces, sun, rising, and moon. What are the addictions that you have to people who are addicted to chemicals, to substances, to sugar, to nicotine, whatever it is? And there's not a judgment on it. It's just that, is it stopping you from growing? Is it helping you to hide behind a facade? The fairy glamour of, oh no, I can't let them see me because then I'm responsible. And then they know where I am. They know where I live. They know what I think. And that doesn't feel good to a Pisces sun, rising, or moon sometimes, because you want to be of service. You want to be in service, but you're also a very creative person. So you want to be creating. What are you creating? So if you're creating extremes, or you're attracting difficulties, setting boundaries with others, or people crossing your boundary, or you just go into hiding every time you burst forth with ideas and you want to get it done, and then suddenly, that's it, I'm done. I'm turning off the lights, shutting the shades, I'm watching 12 movies in a row. So you want to be careful of that need to hide. Pisces, sun, rising, and moon. But Saturn in Pisces is showing you that you are ready to go to the next level of you, maturation process. So that might mean you work out a certain way. Like you've been running, my knees, I can't do it. So then you stop and you find something else. Maybe you've been doing yoga and it actually is hurting your hip. So now we're going to try something else. Stretching in the morning. There's just energy exercises, just tapping, there's just like doing things like this, 40 times in a row. It just helps the circulation. It helps the joints. You want to lubricate the joints, Pisces, sun, rising, and moon. You want to not lubricate the harshness of reality by ingesting overeating, over drinking, overdoing it, or pretending it doesn't bother you. The pretense is the illusion, and the illusion stops the ideal vision. And you came here to create your ideal vision. So what is it? And it's not about me versus them, Pisces, sun, rising, and moon, because Saturn and Pisces in the first house, you might say, I'm done. I'm retired now. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not upgrading my cell phone. I don't even want a cell phone. You might be saying that, and that's okay. That's okay. Now go focus on something that gives you absolute joy. Pisces, sun, rising, and moon with Saturn in Pisces. The next 2.5 years, you're going to be shown, and it could be, and this is hard. This is hard. I remember my mother saying this. She'll be gone 6 years now. She's off planet. And she said, and I said, we're going to work it through. We're going to talk. I will be there. I will hold your hand. And I was, and everything aligned properly. And I said, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to leave your body. It doesn't hurt. You're going to expand beyond. So if you have a friend, Pisces, sun, rising, and moon, who is leaving, and you know it, and you can be a comfort to them, and talk about fun things, I don't make collages, do artwork, talk about feng shui, whatever it is, you can be the mentor to someone who is ready to leave this world. And by doing that, you also help to release the burden from yourself, Saturn burden, of thinking you haven't done enough, or you've been hiding, or I have regrets, because you want to leave this world, Pisces, sun, rising, and moon, without regrets. You just do. And the best way to do that is to be of service, but not at the sake of yourself. This is an independent time for you. The next 2.5 years, you are going to be wondering, why did it take me so long to go on my own vacation without anybody? Why? Or just do nothing. As I said, you want to stroll down the street and pick up rocks, go do that. So I'm talking to every possible faction that there is. Now, if you are having difficulty and you are thinking, I'm ready to leave this world, then without extremes, do not deny yourself pleasure. Do not deny yourself. Do not deny yourself, but without extremes. And say, I want to revel in, I want Christmas lights in my kitchen all year long, or at least for the time that I'm here. And I don't see the process of leaving as it's transmutation. It's the next level of you, whether or not you stay in this body on this planet. So Pisces, sun, rising, and moon, if you are ready to leave a relationship, a way of being, a style of living that no longer supports or suits you, or you want to leave this planet, then that relationship to the next level of you heightens. And that's when they call it the veil between worlds, right? So between matter, physical, Saturn, and the spiritual, Pisces, Neptune, and would be, I see people who are passing on. I've seen people, I had a dream about someone that was my dearest friend, and they've been gone for 5 years now. So, it's like between worlds, liminal, but you're also growing and maturing. And this maturation phase this maturity is about your expression of compassion and spirituality and mysticism. You might start, you could be 80 years old. You're like, I'm going to start doing tarot readings. Then go do it. I'll be first in line to get a session. So Pisces, sun, rising, and moon, regardless of your age, regardless of what's leaving so that you can have your independence, you just go with the flow, and then be so mindful of many moments during the day when you need to rest and you need nutrients and you need to be hydrated and you just need to chill and watch a cartoon. There it is. Folks, Saturn in Pisces for each of the signs. I hope this has been helpful for you. I will be back. Well, I'm trying to get back on I don't know about the 23rd. I'll post it in Facebook. So look for that there. We are in a very busy time right now. Celestially, Saturn in Pisces represents a whole shift. Pluto entering Aquarius in January, another shift. We're feeling these huge and profound moments, just standing in the living room going, I could have had a V8. Oh my gosh. Wow. And so the realizations make for even bigger actions. So just be aware of these things that are happening now. And again, the planets aren't doing anything to you. It is a collective and individual experience that we are having on this earth. And so when there is an earthquake, we feel it. We are affected by it. We are influenced by it. When there is a planet that moves into a different constellation, it's like, oh, the color wheel on those old aluminum Christmas trees with the color wheel. It's like something just changed. I feel it in here. I've changed. I'm the one. The light gets put on your insides as much as your outsides. And it could be as simple as, I want to go blonde. I'm changing my style. I want to get my teeth done. I'm ready to run a marathon. I know I'm 69 and I'm going to train for a little bit and have to be easy on my knees, but I'm going to work my way up toward the supplements that will help the cartilage and the blah, blah, so it's like wherever you're going, there is a process and that process continues. So just be mindful, be present. And as always, I wish you peace and I will see you again very soon. Thanks for being here.